Hi everyone, my name's Ian. Welcome to my physio clinic and welcome to the channel Beyond the Treatment Couch. So if you're wanting to get stronger but you're not exactly sure what or how to do it, then that's exactly what I'll be taking you through today. So let's start off with the deadlift. So before I get stuck into teaching you how to perform a barbell deadlift, I guess we need to ask ourselves, why should we be interested in increasing our strength in the first place? So I've been a physiotherapist for over 21 years now, and there's a very good reason why my clinic now, in essence, is a gym. What I realised a long time ago is that for people in pain, you don't have to go too far in the search for adjacent and associated weakness. If you look at people who are suffering with mobility, then it's often weakness, a lack of strength to get out of a chair, to ascend or descend the stairs. So a lot of our musculoskeletal ailments, problems, challenges can all be attributed in whole or in part to deconditioning, to weakness. So therefore, improving strength is absolutely essential for rehabilitation, hence my clinic being a gym, but also for preventing issues occurring in the first place. So today we're going to start with a series of videos dedicated to teaching people new to strength training how to safely and effectively start training with a barbell for this first series of videos, and then we'll expand to other pieces of resistance equipment as well. So why the barbell deadlift? Well, if you're an athlete, if you're a runner, a cyclist, a swimmer, if you're just a regular person, if you're entering middle-aged, if you're middle-aged towards older age, it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to get stronger, then the barbell deadlift, in my opinion, as a physio, as a certified strength and conditioning coach, is the best exercise for most people outside of competitive elite lifters for getting you strong. It's simple, it's hitting every muscle group and every joint in the body, and when done well and correctly, it's incredibly effective at stimulating strength gains and even muscle gains if you were looking to increase muscle mass. Oh, and if you stay around to the end of the video, I'll give you a top tip on what not to do that could really mess up your deadlift. So the barbell deadlift is a 5-step process, and once all those steps run into each other, then you have an incredibly powerful and very effective exercise. And it all builds from step 1. So if you get step 1 wrong, everything else that follows thereafter is going to be suboptimal, and in essence you're making it harder than it needs to be. You won't actually reach your true potential, all due to step 1 being wrong. So let me show you what step 1 is. So step 1 is all to do with the feet. So whenever I get anyone in my clinic deadlifting, be that a physio patient or a strength training client, I always give them the opportunity to show me what they understand by a deadlift, because sometimes they've maybe tried it before. And without fail, everyone makes this same mistake. And so unless you rectify step 1, then everything else is going to be affected. So let me show you the mistake that everyone makes. So step 1 is all to do with foot placement. And when I get people to show me maybe what they've done previously, without fail, they'll stand about here. And so they're picking the bar up with the bar too far in front of their feet. So you might be thinking, well, what's the big deal? Well, let me show you. So it's all to do with physics and moment arms. That's as technical as I'm going to get. So I've got a 5 kilogram dumbbell here, holding it against my chest. Pretty simple. Okay, so there's no challenge there whatsoever. If I extend my arm, so that same 5 kilogram dumbbell is then quite a challenge to hold up because I've increased the moment arm. So if you're trying to pick up a heavy object off the floor, we want that moment arm to be as close to the body as possible. 10 kilograms, it's quite a challenge. 10 kilograms, that's max effort. So if you're starting your barbell deadlift with a greater than necessary moment arm, i.e. your feet are too far away from the bar, you're making it way harder than it needs to be. So step one, the feet are definitely not there. We actually want the feet about halfway under the bar. So that's step one. Feet halfway under the bar. So let me give you a quick demonstration of what the deadlift would look and what it will feel like if I get step one incorrect. So I'm going to start with my feet away from the bar, they're not under the bar. Oh. Sorry, I just about broke that inertia on that second effort. Step one done correctly. So I've shortened the moment arm. So that's the difference it makes. So steps 2 and 3 now. So we've got step 1, our feet, hip width, turned out in about a 5-to-1 position, halfway under the bar. Step 2, with nice, relaxed, floppy arms, we're going to simply bend over, and typically where the hands make contact, that's where we're going to make our grip. We're gripping on the knurling. So this is the smooth, the knurling is the grip, is the slightly roughened area. So we've got step 1, bending over. That's where we're going to make our grip. We can obviously make adjustments as needed, but that's a good starting point. Step 3, without moving the bar, we're going to move the shins to the bar. So we're making contact with the bar with our shins. And what you'll see now, because we got step 2, our grip, correct, the elbows and knees are now making contact. So it's all starting to come together. We've got steps 1, 2, and 3. So step 4 now, and we're starting to get towards the business end of the lift. It's all about creating some tension, a bit of stiffness in the body. So let me show you what it looks like without that stiffness and without that tension. So I'll go up to step 3. Okay, so without stiffness and tension, my hips are going to lift up before anything else. My back is going to stay rounded. I'm still lifting it. It's just not optimal. So we want to be creating some tension around our middle, around our core. That's where a lot of that power and strength is going to be generated as we transmit that force from the floor as we stand up. One way we're going to do that is as follows. So we're going to be thinking about the position of our lower back in step 3. So let's get to step 3. So what we don't want is to be slumping, to be rounding. We want to be trying to lift the chest, to lift the shoulders up a little bit. So we're taking a bit of weight in the hands. So if you can hear this, it's like I'm trying to lift the bar before we actually lift the bar. So step 3, step 4, I'm trying to put some stiffness in the bottom of my back. I'm lifting my chest up and I'm giving my shoulders a little bit of a squeeze, which is then lifting the bar up. Now, as part of step 4, we're also going to be contracting muscles within our abdomen. We're going to be bracing. And so the cue that's often used is, imagine you're about to get punched in the tummy. So you would automatically, intuitively brace those muscles there. So I've not got anyone here to help punch me. So imagine if I'm going to get slammed in the tummy by this slam bag, I'm going to brace the muscles. Okay, so that's all we're doing. We're just bracing the muscles with a breath hold. So the breath hold, called the Valsalva maneuver, it increases all of the pressure around the back. In fact, let me show you. So when we're deadlifting, there's obviously a lot of load being put through the back, and the back is fine with that. We don't need to be scared of loading the back. If we don't load it, it deconditions, it weakens. We definitely don't want that. So what we can do, all of the deep core stabilizer muscles that you can't see. So we're not talking about the six pack, we're talking about the muscles deep to the six pack. With that brace, with a breath hold, we're getting those muscles to really contract. So they're keeping the lumbar spine firmly held, which is going to help as we stand up. So if all of those muscles are working tight and hard and well contracted, they're keeping the spine where we want it to be for optimal force production. So let me show you. Okay, so I'm going to go to step 4, and then there's the additional bracing and breathing elements. Okay, so I'm now bracing. I'm going to take a breath in. I'm going to hold that breath. The next time I breathe out will be when the weight is back on the floor. So step 4, we're getting tight, we're lifting the chest up, we're taking the weight in the hands, we're getting that little clink. Brace, breath hold. So then the only thing that's left is step 5. And step 5 is when we push the feet through the floor and lift our chest up to the ceiling. That will be the complete deadlift. So let me show you. And bearing in mind, once the weight is leaving the floor, I'm holding my breath until it's back on the floor. So, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, brace, breath hold. Readjust, shins to the bar. Step 4. A really important point I failed to mention. One more. Never readjust, shins to the bar.
The arms
Step
stay
4.
long. We're not lifting the bar from the arms. The arms stay straight.
And there you have it. A barbell deadlift. In my opinion, for the general population, for amateur athletes, runners, triathletes looking to get stronger, for people looking to equip themselves to meet the challenges of the aging process head on, this is the best exercise to be starting with. Other exercises will then follow. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know how you got on in the comments below. And then the next video, we'll be going through other barbell exercises, which when added to the deadlift is hitting everything. Okay, hope you enjoy that. See you next time. As promised, my top tip for what not to do in order to avoid messing up your deadlift is footwear. So it might not have gone unnoticed, I'm wearing quite a snazzy pair of orange Mizuno trainers. So if we go back maybe a decade, 15 years, I don't know, I'm old enough to be losing decades now, minimalist trainers were all of the rage, not the high-vis gargantuan things that we have these days. So this is a minimalist trainer. There's hardly anything to it. It's as light as a feather. The actual sole is incredibly thin. So that's what I use to deadlift in. You might see some people deadlifting in socks. So in essence, we want to be as close to the ground as possible, and we don't want to be standing on squishy material. So let me show you definitely what not to do. So possibly the worst thing you could do for your deadlift is deadlifting in running trainers. So these are my current running trainers. They're probably a good 3 years old. They're certainly nowhere near as thick and as squishy as the current iteration. But even so, I wouldn't deadlift in these. So if you're deadlifting in a squishy trainer with a thick amount of squishy material, that's simply creating instability. In the same way, imagine trying to deadlift standing on a trampoline. It's going to be very, very difficult. So the force production is going to be lost. There's going to be instability brought into the exercise, which we don't want. So definitely no thick, squishy running shoes. If like me, if you're incredibly fashion conscious and a bit of a hipster, you might want to consider these. I'm not really a hipster. Converse. Okay, so these are my size 13 canoes. Again, these are great. So minimal material, just a flat sole, nothing else really. So again, you might see a lot of people even competing in kind of strongman events wearing Converse trainers. So anything flat, anything minimal, failing that, take your trainers off and deadlift in your bare feet. Okay, there you go, top tip. Oh, and as Adam Meakins, the sports physio, would say, you can't go wrong, we're getting strong. See you next time.